Hello, welcome to the Word Cafe podcast. This podcast has been designed with curated content that centers on the power of words. Can we really do anything without speaking? Can we really do anything without the agency of words? Yes, that is what this podcast is all about. And I am your host, Amakri Isoboye, your neighborhood word trader. I believe in the power of words, for it is the unit of creation. I trade in words to profit my world. Wonderful. Hello there. How are you all doing? Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everything, wherever you are at this particular moment on the surface of the earth, hearing my voice. Welcome to the Word Cafe live show. Yes, we are here again in the room, yes, to celebrate our women. I told you the month of March is dedicated to women, and on the Word Cafe live show, we'll try our best to do what we know how to do. What's that? Celebrate our women. Yeah, we've been talking about breaking the bias and all that, Yes, that's the theme. And today I have a wonderful personality on the show. And we're going to have what I consider a little bit controversial, but I need us to talk about it. Yes, I'll bring her on shortly. You will see her face. Thank you for being there. Thank you for, doing this with us on the Word Cafe live show. So I bring her up immediately. Yes. There she is, Adiola. You're welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're fine too.
I'm good.
Thank you for having me on your show. It's really good to be here.
Pleasure. When I checked you up and I looked at your profile, I was like, this woman is so many things to so many people. She's a speaker. She is a TEDx, personality. She's LinkedIn influencer. She's a chartered accountant. But above all, she calls herself a global brand. That was what caught my attention. The guys, don't worry. I'll allow her introduce herself. Then we will, dive into today's conversation. So, who is Adiola?
Okay, good evening, viewers. My name is Omobabiri Adiola Oshideko. But just call me Adiola. I know the first part is very complicated, sort of.
It sounds like music, honestly, when you say it.
It's really good to be here, and I want to say Happy International Women's Day once again to all women all over the world. To be a woman at a time like this is really commendable. It takes a lot of courage, effort to be a woman and keep standing in this age and time. I am a personal development coach, a branding expert, and a social media influencer. But those three put together are what I do outside my regular 9-to-5 job. So for my 9-to-5 job, I am an accountant, and I work with one of the international organizations as a finance professional. So thank you for having me here today to talk to people about women and things that evolves around women.
Awesome. That 9-to-5 that you do, I would say, from what I'm seeing, is like 20% of you. The other aspect of you, as in the 80% I see, is more within that development as in space where you coach and encourage people. Awesome. Now, before we came out, I told you what we're going to talk about today, or is something a little bit controversial, but we need to talk about it. It's happening out there. Female bosses and their style. Fortunately, when I reached out to you to do this, I just started receiving, or started seeing articles on female managers. And I saw one today, before I came on, and statistics showing that the countries with the highest number of female managers. Surprisingly, Africa is leading. Nigeria on that list is second, as in Togo is first, followed by Nigeria, that you have more women managers. And I was like, so you are setting me up concern, with regards to today's conversation. So what is your take, female bosses and your style?
Being a boss or not is not supposed to be gender-based. We are not supposed to say, oh, because she's a woman, let her be a boss, or because she's a man, let her be a boss. We've seen situations whereby at the level of the board, when a decision is about to be made concerning who is the next person to be a manager, who is the next person to step up to this managerial, to this leadership role, we see a lot of biases against women or even against men at times. Some people believe, oh, a woman should be able to do this better. And you will see, oh, some people will say a man is supposed to be able to do this better. So for me, I believe that position should be based on people's capabilities, their capacity, their performance, and their proven track record over the period of time on that job. Being a woman and being a boss is kind of, it comes with its pros and cons, because a woman is supposed to take care of the family, literally. In those days, some women don't work. In fact, some men don't permit their women to work because they believe that their job is to stay at home, cater for the family, and take care of the children. So, but in these days, we discover that, a man alone cannot do this. It's also going to be fine if a woman can support by working.
Yeah. Okay.
Apart from being a support system, we also discover that women have a lot of virtues in them. They have a lot of potentials. Why should we allow these potentials to die just because they want to cater for the family and they want to raise children and they want to take care of their home? Let them also work. And that is when people start seeing the need for women to work and lead. And you will discover that even while we are still working as a career professional, the society will not let go of that part of our responsibility at home and say, oh, because she's not working, you are excused. You see a lot of cases where people will start arguing on a man helping a woman. Oh, you are not supposed to help her. This is her job. Even when she is a full-time professional, some people even run businesses alongside their career. So that tells us that the duty of a woman in the house is still there. And somehow, a woman have to merge the two together in whatever capacity you can. You just have to make sure that the two comes together. And that kind of for me personally, I see it as kind of burdensome for women. Okay. And if you as a woman you are not able to undo it very well, you will get overwhelmed, you will get burdened, and you will not be able to give your best emotionally on one part of the job. Definitely, is it that your career is suffering for it, or your house is suffering for it, or your home is suffering for it? So that's why we see a lot of harshness in women, because a lot of them have things they do at home. They are stressed up at home before. So coming to the office with all these baggages, some of them just let loose of everything and they just are not in control of their emotion. So it's kind of challenging, and it's kind of very important that women understand the bridge or the gap between their responsibility as a mother, as a wife, and as a career professional, and do not allow it to clash in whatever form.
If I hear you correctly, you're trying to paint a picture of a balance, here.
Yes, a balance, yes.
A balance. I was listening to Jeff Bezos recently, when they were asking him the question about this word, work-life balance. And I enjoyed, the answer he gave, because the issue of work-life balance, I've heard 3 versions of it. I have work-life balance, work-life integration, then work-life harmony. The work-life harmony was the response Jeff Bezos gave. He was like, I don't expect you to have a different persona when you go home and when you come to the office, have another. Exactly. My expectation is you harness that energy. That's the word he used, that energy from your home. Bring that energy, positive energy, to the office. I also expect you to harness the positive energy in the office and take it back home. So what we are talking about here is creating that harmony. Easier said than done. But the truth is, with practice, you come to see it. Because from what you just painted now, it's like, why so many women, in corporate spaces, lash out, give out that negative energy. It's like something that happened at home. It's like transferring that aggression and all. So we need to balance it. So what do you think, from your point of view as a coach in that, should I say, element, how can we help the women create this balance, this harmony?
All right, thank you very much. I think the first thing is that women should understand emotional intelligence. It's very key. If any other person will not be taking emotional intelligence serious, women should do. Understanding your emotions as a woman is going to help you strike that balance, create that harmony between your home or your family and your work. Understand, who are you? What is your personality? Because we discover that a lot of times people just pay attention to the technical parts of their job. There's something we call soft skills. Soft skills are things like public speaking. Soft skills are basically skills that can aid or help you to be better on your job, that can help you to achieve maximum results. But most of the time, we discover that people just pay attention to their technical skills. For instance, I'm an accountant, or everything I just need to do is understand what is accounting, what is balance sheet, how do I interpret my financial statement, how do I prepare my reports, and once I'm done with that, I'm good to go. Every other thing is not important to me. There are some things we call soft skills. Unfortunately, in the world today, the organization, or let me say organizations, are not creating that enabling environment for these skills to thrive. They don't train their staff. They don't talk about it. They don't send emails. There are some random emails you receive, not just based on the job, based on things that can help employees to grow personally. So we have things like emotional intelligence. We have things like communication skills. We have things like public speaking and presentation. We have things like personality development, and so on and so forth. So women should pay more attention to their soft skills, especially the personality development part and the emotional intelligence part. What does emotional intelligence do for you as a woman? It helps you understand your emotions. There is nobody that doesn't have emotions. As human, that is our makeup. In fact, research shows that we have over 300 emotions. So that means, as you have as human being, you have there's a probability of 300 feelings running through your veins at the same time. So that means you need to know, what are these emotions? How do they come? What are the triggers? How do they affect me? What should I put in place to make sure that these emotions do not affect my job? I work with a manager once that said, whatever problem you are bringing from your house, once you are coming, just hang it at the door before you come inside to the office. And when you are going back, you can just pick your thing and just go with it. Do not bring any baggage from your house to the office, So we need to understand our emotions. A lot of people only think that anger is the only emotion because anger is popular. I think anger is the most popular emotion. Oh, anger. Because when you talk about emotion like this, everybody's mind casts back to anger. So, that's what they're talking about. No, you have over 300 emotions. Anxiety is an emotion. Love is emotion. Hate is emotion. Disgust is emotion. We have so many of them. And you need to understand all of these things, especially some of them that are really paramount, that are really common. That probably in a day you cannot go without having these feelings. You need to know what they have, how they work, how they affect you, what are the triggers. How can you manage your emotion? Not just your own emotion. How can you manage the emotion of other people? When we understand our emotions as women, I believe that it's going to be quite easy for us to be able to harmonize our home and our career at the same time. So I think emotional intelligence, number one. Then number two is personality development.
Okay.
Understand your personality. So many people, if you ask them today what's their personality, they don't even know. So if you don't know your personality, how do you know the personality of the other person? How do you know their temperament? How do you know everything around them? So we need to understand these things, because these are the things that will help us to be able to manage people and relate with people without any chaos and problem.
I hear you say mindfulness. In everything you just said now, mindfulness, that's what I'm just hearing. Now, but you kept saying women. But don't you think it would be, should I say, helpful to also let the men get involved in that training, emotional intelligence, your personality type, your emotion, anger management, and all that, so that you bring this to, would I say, personalities into a room, like you're training them to understand. Something happened once, in an organization, and they came up with this idea of bringing your child to the office a particular day in the week. You just bring your child or your children, as the case may be, come see what daddy leaves the house by this time and comes back by this time. And they came to figure out that the children coming to the office, seeing the space, enjoying the ambience, so to say, asking questions. They noticed that after that activity, the parents started coming to the office happier, because definitely if the child is coming, the mother or whoever stays with the child at home will, tag along. So it's like they came to the office, saw the atmosphere, the parent going back home, mother or father as the case may be, coming back the following day, and subsequently the management came to see that these people are livelier. So
they are more productive.
They are more productive, exactly. Bringing the children to the office, somehow the children now see what mommy and daddy goes to do, and them going back home is like they're now getting that support. So from what you're saying now, I mean, this is just me, submitting. I think having such an exercise bringing the mother and the father, or the man and the woman, practicing this, it will help. What's your take on that?
Yes, I think it will. Also, like you said, something similar to what you just said is companies, organizations that make provision for women to have their baby in a crèche. Some organizations have crèche for their staff, their female staff, where they can keep their baby while they are working. At times when you keep your baby very far away from you as a woman, your mind is there. You're working, but your mind is somewhere else. So even though you are present physically in the office, you are somewhere else entirely. You're like, oh, what is my baby doing right now? Is he crying? Is the nanny taking care of him? Your mind is just out. But by the time you know that if you want to go and heal yourself, you can quickly say hi to the baby, and the baby is fine. Every minute you are so assured that your baby is in good hands. It will increase your productivity level, and it will even encourage you to work more, because you don't have to walk miles even after work before you go and pick your baby. And so like the scenario you painted just now, bringing children to the office, yes, it's good, because I discovered that somehow we cannot separate family from career. We cannot separate business from career. We cannot separate business from family. One way or the other, these things are intertwined. And the earlier we understand it, the better. I've seen people talk about LinkedIn platform, and they say, oh, LinkedIn is a professional platform. Do not bring anything personal to LinkedIn. And I kept saying, okay, as much as I agree with you that LinkedIn is strictly professional, you cannot separate people from their family. Even when people are still talking about their professional life, one way or the other, you will still discover that they talk about their family in between, or when I was going to work, I dropped my child in the school. That is still not professional. So we cannot separate family from career. We cannot separate career from family. So the only thing we can do is try to find a balance in such a way that one does not disturb the other. Productive at home at the same time productive at work. So yes, it's going to be a very good idea.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you this question to throw you into that controversy now. How many bosses have you had in your career? Total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, let me start thinking. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I've worked in so many places. So
all right. Now I'm going to ask you the next question.
5, 6, 7. I've worked with 7 bosses.
7 bosses.
2 female. No, 8 actually. 2 female, 6 male.
All right. Out of
2
these
female,
8 bosses,
6 male.
Yeah. Out of these 8 bosses, 2 female, 6 male. Now, what will you say? Now, what will you say as in amongst them? Who gave you that support to build your career further? The female bosses or the male bosses?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history. We also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
Okay, sincerely, it's the female bosses.
Really? I want to hear that.
It might look biased, but that's the truth. The female bosses that I once had, they were amazing, and they really gave me that edge. To do
what about the male bosses?
Oh, some of them are not bad. Some of them are not bad, but I work with a very empathetic one out of the 6. But overall, I would say I haven't been in the web of bad or difficult bosses. I really do not have such experience like that. So I would say so far so good. I've been blessed with amazing people. You know, people that are just interested in your growth. People who are just interested in you being comfortable, nothing more. Once you do your job, they don't have problem with you. You know, once you do your job, they don't have problem with you. So I've been blessed so far to work, because when people talk about difficult bosses, I try to picture it in my head. I'm like, okay, what does it mean to have a difficult boss? I really do not know what it means, sincerely.
There is this belief out there in the corporate world, you know, it's really not spoken about, but we all kind of hear it along the corridors and all that female bosses are very difficult, very difficult.
So I had to
male bosses. You know, so now the question I ask is just like you said, what do you mean by difficult? That female bosses are difficult. What do you mean by that? And each time I ask that question, I'll allow you to speak, but let me tell you the response I always get. Each time I ask that question, what I see is an antagonism. This female boss, she doesn't like the way I look. She's always speaking on, petty things and all that. I said, really? Are you sure about that? So people have had different experiences, but I think it boils back to what you said earlier, managing your personality. Yeah, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Okay, like I said, I really do not have a complete idea of what a difficult boss looks like. But let me just come from the angle of what people usually say. Because I also believe that most times, I don't want to, because, when you have not been in a particular shoe, you might really not be able to talk about it. But from my own view, I think what some people call difficult at times might not really be difficult. Some people are lazy, and there are some people I've worked with. Have I really worked with lazy boss? I can't really say I've worked with a lazy boss. So far, so good. I've been working with hardworking bosses, and you need to match up with their expectation. You need to match up. So sometimes some people are just lagging behind, they're just lazy. And when the boss is trying to quicken them to say, oh, let's do this, we need to get this done. No, you can't tell me you have not done this. They label it as, oh, difficult boss. You see some people that they love being pushed around before they do. They can't sit down and use their initiative to do things. Yeah. And when the boss is like, oh, no, you should be able to figure this out on your own. They say, oh, she's a difficult boss. But I also do not want to conclude, but because in the real sense of it, we have people that are really difficult. Because, like I said, I don't have difficult bosses. I've worked with difficult colleagues before. Okay. Yes, so I can come from that angle and say, okay, maybe I will have an idea of what a difficult boss is. So to me, a difficult boss is someone who lacks, the first thing for me is someone who lacks empathy.
Empathy.
Yes, empathy. You should be able to empathize with your subordinates, no matter what. We have cases where people lie, but I believe that as a boss, you should be able to tell whether someone is lying or not. And probably based on their track record so far, you should be able to say, oh, this person is saying the truth. Because we see people who do stuff and they say, oh, I'm sick, I'm not coming to office today. And when the boss reacts that, oh, what do you mean? Because the boss thinks he or she's lying, it becomes an issue. Oh, he's a bad person. She didn't even empathize with me that I'm sick and all that. So I believe that empathy is very, very key. Put yourself in the shoes of that subordinate and know what they feel. Try to feel what they feel. Try to see what they go through. That's number one for me, empathy. Then number two is not respecting people's opinion. Because some bosses are so domineering that they have you have the final say as a boss. But that does not mean you should not consider the opinion or the ideas of people or subordinates. Let them talk. Let them express themselves. It doesn't mean that you will still take what they have said. It just shows that they are part. You've seen them as parts of the team. You've seen them. You want to make them have a sense of responsibility, a sense of belonging. They don't feel like an outcast. They feel that they belong to that team and they are part of that team. So let them express themselves. And finally, you have the last. You are the one who make the. Yes, you have the last say. You have the final decision. But let them feel that they are important. They are not just dummies and figureheads. They are also important in the team. So that's number two. Number three for me is someone who is not able to take responsibility. You know, I've seen cases whereby I'll prepare some reports and there will be errors. And, you know, I have to give the report to my boss. My boss has to present it to the other boss, to the higher boss. Yeah. And maybe during the presentation, my boss discovered that there is a problem. And the boss will cover up for me without even letting the other boss know that the problem is from me. So you cover up, you take responsibility of that report at that time. Yeah. Not like you say, oh, don't worry, that error you're looking at, this is a particular error you're looking at. Don't worry, I knew where this error is coming from. It's from that ideology. Because when I prepare this report, let me just get back to that, you know. So a boss is accountable. Something happened sometimes ago in my small coaching group. Somebody did something and I went to the leader. And I'm like, okay, something happened. You're using my brand name to do something that I really do not find funny. Why? Yeah. I saw one of your team members using my brand name to do stuff and all that. And she was like, no, it's not me. I'm not the one. They are the one. No, they are the one that made the decision. They were the one that said we should use that name. And I'm like, no, you don't do that. You know, I told that point, I said, you're a leader. You are supposed to take responsibility for everything that happened. They suggested my brand name to you, but you used it. You finalized and you conclude that you're going to be using that name. And now, she even went to the extent of, she wants to send me screenshots of where they discussed that thing and they suggested my name. She's not the one, I'm not the one. I'm like, no, you're bad, you don't do that. You accept responsibility. No matter what. You say, oh, I'm sorry, this is my fault. You cannot go back to go and sort out whatever it is with your team members. I am not concerned about that. You are the leader and I'm facing you as the leader. So a good boss take responsibility. A good boss accept their mistakes. You know, there are some people that are so defensive, they don't want to even see themselves being vulnerable to the subordinates. They want to appear so perfect that nobody can correct them. Oh, I am perfect, I don't make mistakes. And they want their subordinates to take everything hook, line, and sinker. oh, this is the perfect boss. No, you need to show your vulnerability at times. It makes you look human. It makes it easy for your subordinate to relate with you. So those few things are what I just see, and I think the problem when people say they have a difficult boss.
Awesome. This is so beautiful. You know what you have just presented, so beautiful. You must have that empathy. You must take responsibility, and you must show vulnerability. You are vulnerable.
Yes.
You know, it's like
Yes.
the next person sees that she's human after all. You know, and can relate. Yes. Now,
absolutely.
One last question before I let you go. You said you've worked with 8 bosses, 2 female, 6 male. Now, going forward, would you still prefer to work with a female boss or a male boss from your experience?
Okay, I really do not know how to answer this question. I think either of the two is going to be cool with me. Either of the two is going to be cool with me because I understand I wouldn't say I understand totally, completely, but I would say I understand a little bit of, because I am a boss myself. I manage people. I've been managing people in my small team for the last 3 years now, and I really understand what it means to be a leader. And so I can relate from both angles. So if my manager or my boss is reacting in a way, I try to put myself in a position and say, okay, if my team member also are the one looking at me from this angle, how do they feel? So, you know, so it makes me to have like a double view. So I am in the position of a subordinate here, I'm in the position of a boss here, and that helps me to be able to understand both. So for me, male, female, I'm good to go. I really do not have preference. Seriously, I really do not have preference. I'm very sure I'll be able to work well with either.
Thank you so much, Adiola. You know, in celebrating the International Women's Day, I call it International Women's Month. Somebody told me once, but I thought it's just a day. I said, well, the whole of March is for women. It's not just a day. So
yeah, it's the whole of March.
Just bear with me
right.
if I keep celebrating them this March every single day. You know, so we want to celebrate the female bosses out there and also encourage them. You know, like you're not in competition with anybody per se. You're not in competition with the male counterparts, but rather you are there to show a different style, you know, that will enhance productivity, that will enhance our humanity, and at the same time that will enhance our collaborative nature. You know, so we want to say kudos to all the female bosses out there, and thank you for accepting to do this with us on the Word Cafe live show. Now, before I let you go, how do we catch you? Where do we catch you? What are you up to?
Okay, you can catch me on LinkedIn. I'm also active on Instagram. So I'm up to coaching, basically, like you said, coaching. So I have 2 major niche I focus on. Number 1 is personal development, and number 2 is branding. So at every point in time, is either I'm talking about personal development or I'm talking about branding. So those are the 2 things I do. So I mentor people too. I mentor young people who need clarity of purpose. They want to do something, but they don't really know how to go about it. I mentor them. I help them to figure out what they want to do and how they should do it. And I do coaching. I do training. I speak at events and all that. So that's what I'm up to.
Beautiful. You are a total package, indeed, a total package. Thank you, guys. We have been discussing with Adiola, you know, as in celebrating the International Women's Day, what I like to, and we'll be talking about have an awesome time. But you know, as it is on the show, time is never enough for us to talk and talk. So we have to let you go at this point. Like we say it on the show all the time. Thank you, Adiola. Thank you for
bye.
Coming over to discuss with us. Take care. Bye for now. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Before we sign off, I just want to encourage you. Yeah, it's been a wonderful time. And also I'd like to hear from you, your feedback. You know, you've been listening to the Word Cafe podcast. I would love to hear from you, the feedback. If you have any questions, you go ahead and ask those questions. You can reach me at my email address, amakrigaribaldi@gmail.com. Amakri is AMACHROOEGARIBALDI@gmail.com. Yeah, and we'll get back. You know how we do it on the show. Thank you. Awesome time it has been with you on the Word Cafe podcast today. Thank you for being there. You can catch me up on my social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all at Amakri Isoboye. Also, you can get copies of my books, A Cocktail of Words, The Color of Words, and my HR notebook on Amazon and on Robin Heights online bookstores. You can also subscribe to my YouTube page at the same address. Yes, till we see you again. Bye for now.